Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Khanna of California. He's a member of the House Oversight Committee. I was just saying to you during the break, and we'll get to a lot of this, that earlier in the day we were like, we're going to talk to you about all sorts of things. And now there's just all this news that dumped in this evening. Let me just start by asking you, when you saw the news that Governor Walz and Mayor Frey of Minneapolis were going to be investigated. This is a week where also Senator Elissa Slotkin, Congressman Jason Crow are also being investigated. What do you make of this as you look at the totality of this?
You know, we're laughing at the silliness, but it's dangerous.
Yes, I don't mean to be laughing, to be clear. It is dangerous, yeah.
All Tim Walz said, Governor Walz said, is let's de-escalate. Let's figure out how you don't have ICE deployed in Minnesota, where, by the way, 1/10 of the entire agency is in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Even though they have only 1% of those who are undocumented. And he's saying, let's de-escalate. And Donald Trump is saying, I'm going to open criminal investigations. Basically, he's opening criminal investigations against his political opponents who are criticizing him. And that's what happens in authoritarian countries. And I'm not one to use words like that. I'm usually very careful. But going after your political opponents criminally is exactly what authoritarian governments do.
One of the questions, I mean, you and many of your colleagues have been very aggressive, and you're not in control of the House, right? You don't control committees, and that has not stopped you from being aggressive. But one of the questions I have, and a lot of people ask me, is what happens if you take control of the House? Are you going to remember, like, do you have a list somewhere of Gregory Bovino and Tom Homan and all of these people, and are you going to, is holding them to account at the top of your priority list?
Absolutely. It's going to be accountability. And people who are not complying with the Epstein law, people who cut U.S. aid and had people die in Africa, people who have threatened universities, people who are arresting American citizens or shooting American citizens without due process, all of them are going to be investigated and hauled before Congress. Look, I am for bringing this country together in reconciliation, but you're not going to have reconciliation without accountability. And my colleagues in the Democratic House share that. These committees are going to be active. They're going to be seeking justice.
There's a long way to go before November, to be clear, for everybody watching, and a lot of things that need to happen. I mean, Cook Political Report, who's a pretty good gauge, just flipped about 18 seats this week.
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal, not insignificant. I just started the show by talking about a lot of things, but including some of the polling we've seen. It feels a little bit like the horrors of what we've seen in Minneapolis and how people are digesting it out there, thanks to excellent local reporting, excellent national reporting, incredible citizens who are proudly holding up their cameras and sharing video, is a bit of a turning point on this issue. But how do you, I don't want to be, you know, don't be too rosy. How do you see it?
It is a turning point because, look, Americans wanted a secure border, but people are fair. And they don't want ICE agents out there shooting and killing Americans. They don't want ICE agents going through Americans' cars, pulling out someone disabled, going to a doctor's office and detaining her. They don't want people knocking on doors of immigrants who are paying taxes. And they're just saying, what is going on? There is something that is fundamentally snapped in the Trump administration where people are seeing that he's violating freedoms. He's violating constitutional rights.
One of the topics that I feel like there should be more time and attention paid to, and you've really been trying to focus on, is, of course, the Epstein files. And we try to talk about it a lot, too. We ended the show the other night by giving a counting clock of how many days it's been since they've released the documents. They're violating the law here, just to repeat to everybody. You and Republican Thomas Massie, who knew this was going to be your partner in governing for a while, have called for a special master to be appointed to compel the DOJ to release the full Epstein files. I guess, what is your level of confidence that can be done? And what other steps could you take? What else is in your pocket as you're working with him on what could be done here?
Well, first of all, Jen, this is broken throw, right? You have a factory worker in Michigan confronting the president. Yeah. And what does he say? You're protecting pedophiles.
Pedophile protector.
And this is why it's gotten under President Trump's skin, because he knows it's broken through with his own MAGA base. Pam Bondi, when you talk to the Republican colleagues, almost no one has confidence in her. And today she just filed with the Southern District of New York, groveling, saying, we're releasing them, Judge. We're releasing them. Please give us some more time. I'm hearing that on the 20th, we're going to get more documents documents released. But the judge has been terrific. He is filled with integrity, Judge Engelmayer. He's ordered the Department of Justice to discuss why they're not having the documents, what documents they're going to produce. He's considering having a special master. I do believe we're going to get the files, but it's going to be a fight. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be a fight with the law. The law is very clear, but it's going to be a fight. And by the way, let me say this. They're distracting with the Clintons. No one should buy that. The President Clinton has called for the release of these Epstein files. Hillary Clinton has called for the release of the Epstein files. There's one person who has that power, Pam Bondi, and the distractions aren't going to work.
And they shouldn't. And there's so many incredible survivors out there who've been waiting for so long. I know that you've been fighting for, too, Congressman Ro Khanna. Thank you for being here.